that clearly there is a criminal investigation underway and that they believe that there would be evidence of crimes in one or both of these homes.
And I remember, like, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but like, I felt like I was in the presence of his monster inside.
Rumors are swirling and they're more explosive than ever. Could it be true that Sean Diddy Combs, one of the biggest names in music and entertainment, managed to escape from federal custody thanks to powerful connections? The whispers are growing louder by the day, and they paint a wild picture of secret deals, mysterious clones, and a prison break that sounds like something out of a movie. If you think you know everything about Diddy's recent troubles, you might want to think again, because this story is just getting started, and it's crazier than anyone could have imagined.
Took Sean Diddy Combs into custody. He's seen in this video entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan with others when agents from Homeland Security Investigations approach and separate him. They place Combs under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs.
Diddy has been the center of attention for decades, from his iconic music career to his business empire. But recently, things have taken a darker turn. The rapper and mogul was arrested on charges that sent shockwaves through the industry, and since then, rumors about his fate have only gotten more bizarre. The biggest one, that Diddy didn't just sit in his cell waiting for the wheels of justice to turn. He made his escape, and not through any ordinary means. Instead, he's allegedly used his influence and deep connections within law enforcement to disappear. But that's not all. Some people even claim that the real Diddy hasn't been seen for months, and that a clone, created to keep up appearances, has been left behind in his place. Sounds wild, right? Well, buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into this wild conspiracy.
You know, I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail.
It all started with Diddy's arrest earlier this year. The charges were serious enough to land him in federal custody, but what came next raised eyebrows even more. He was reportedly held in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, a notorious facility that's been called everything from a nightmare to hell on earth. If you've heard anything about this place, you'll know it's one of the most dangerous and poorly managed jails in the country. The conditions are so terrible that it's a wonder anyone survives their time there at all. For Diddy, who was used to living in the lap of luxury, this prison was the ultimate fall from grace. But according to rumors, the dire situation might have worked in his favor, helping to pave the way for his escape.
Special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown unit, which means that any movement within that unit is controlled and coordinated, and no inmate moves outside of his cell without being in full restraints, to include leg irons, handcuffs, a belly chain, and at least 2, if not 3 staff members escorting them.
The Metropolitan Detention Center, or MDC Brooklyn, as it's often called, is infamous for its extreme overcrowding, lack of care, and brutal treatment of inmates. And things have only gotten worse in recent years. So there have been reports of inmates being stuck in lockdown for days on end, barely allowed out of their cells. Some have said the prison is falling apart. Mold rats, broken pipes, and freezing temperatures are just the tip of the iceberg. These conditions create a perfect storm of chaos, and it's no surprise that the facility has also seen a string of suspicious dismissals in recent years. These aren't just tragic accidents, though. Some believe they're part of something far more sinister, a deliberate effort to get rid of certain inmates. Could Diddy have been one of those targets?
The story we're tracking, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs on watch at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center after 2 judges denied his request for bail. This as a grand jury is expected to hear new testimony from workers very soon.
The theory goes like this. As soon as Diddy was locked up in MDC Brooklyn, powerful enemies within the industry and even outside of it wanted him silenced. But instead of letting him rot in the cell, there was a more nefarious plan afoot, one that involved using the prison's horrendous conditions as a cover to eliminate him without raising too many questions. Inmates in that place have often been left without proper medical care for days, meaning that any number of accidents could happen. If someone wanted Diddy out of the picture, MDC Brooklyn would be the perfect place to make that happen.
I had clients describe MDC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
But here's where the plot thickens. Instead of quietly suffering under those conditions, rumors suggest that Diddy used his vast resources and connections to make a bold move. According to these whispers, back in March, while everyone was focused on his legal battle, the real Diddy managed to slip out of the prison entirely. And to cover his tracks, a clone was left behind in his place. Now, if you're rolling your eyes, bear with us. This is where things get even stranger.
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap industry.
So the idea of celebrity clones might sound like pure science fiction, but in the world of conspiracy theories, it's not as far-fetched as you might think. With advances in AI and digital manipulation, some believe it's possible to create nearly perfect replicas of replicas so convincing that they could even fool the public. And if anyone has the money and connections to pull something like this off, it's Diddy. After all, he's no stranger to tech innovation. He's always been ahead of the curve when it comes to business, and his influence runs deep, not just in entertainment, but across multiple industries. So the theory goes that Diddy could have orchestrated a high-tech switch, replacing himself with an AI-generated clone or even a look-alike who could play the part while the real Diddy slipped out of the country undetected.
I saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy. Yikes. She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse.
Of course, to pull off something like this, Diddy would need help from the inside, and that's where his alleged connections within law enforcement come into play. For years, there have been whispers that Diddy has powerful friends in high places, people who could make things disappear, whether that's evidence, criminal charges, or even Diddy himself. In fact, some believe these connections go all the way to the top, with Diddy having ties to certain government agencies that have long protected him from facing the full brunt of the law. So the escape plan might not have been just about slipping out of prison. It could have been a well-coordinated operation involving multiple players, all working together to keep Diddy safe and out of the public eye.
Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
If that sounds like a stretch, consider this: Diddy's rise to fame wasn't without controversy. So he has been a polarizing figure, someone who's been able to navigate scandal after scandal while remaining at the top. From his involvement in the East Coast-West Coast rap feud to his brushes with the law in the 1990s and 2000s, Diddy has faced serious allegations before and always come out on top. Some say it's luck, others say it's his charm, but more than a few people believe there's something deeper going on, something that's allowed him to operate above the law for decades. And now, as his legal troubles pile up once again, those old suspicions are resurfacing.
Now you got the Diddy situation where he jumps on a private jet, they say yesterday, and is on his way to the Cape Verde Islands.
The rumors about Diddy's escape are fueled by the very real horrors inside MDC Brooklyn. This prison is notorious for its lack of oversight and its ability to lose people in the system. So there have been multiple instances where inmates have simply vanished, either through clerical errors or under more suspicious circumstances. So the lack of transparency within the prison system makes it almost impossible to get a straight answer about what's going on inside those walls. And in Diddy's case, the silence has been deafening.
That with all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone. So
some sources claim that Diddy hasn't been seen in public for months, leading to speculation that the clone theory might not be so far-fetched after all. One popular version of the story suggests that Diddy's duplicate has been making appearances on his behalf, while the real Diddy has been laying low, possibly overseas, waiting for the heat to settle down. Social media has been buzzing with comparisons of recent photos of Diddy, with some fans pointing out subtle differences in his appearance. His eyes look slightly different. His face seems more robotic, and his overall demeanor has changed. Could this be evidence that we're seeing a clone instead of the real Diddy?
Do you believe Diddy is a dangerous person?
Yes.
Adding fuel to the fire are comments from other celebrities who have hinted that all might not be as it seems. Joel Melnick, a digital creator, recently shared a viral Instagram reel showing two pictures of Diddy side by side. The images, though similar, raised eyebrows, with fans jumping into the comments to dissect the differences. Those are not the same person, one user wrote, while others speculated that AI or some other technology might be involved. And then there's the wildest claim of all, that the real Diddy has fled to a secret location, using his connections to evade capture, while his clone keeps up appearances.
There has been some updates in the Diddy $100 million default judgment that we reported on.
Now the question is, could any of this actually be true? On the surface, it seems far-fetched, but when you start digging into the history of MDC Brooklyn and the influence Diddy wields, things start to get a little more plausible. The prison has been under fire for years for its dangerous conditions. Inmates have described it as barbaric and unlivable. One former inmate in a statement to the press said that the prison is essentially a trap of doom, where people are left to fend for themselves with little to no support from staff. There have been reports of riots, violent altercations, and even inmates taking their own lives because of the sheer brutality of the conditions.
This is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009 versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records label owner.
So let's not forget that Diddy wouldn't be the first high-profile figure to suffer in this place. R. Kelly, the disgraced R&B singer, was held there during his trial, and reports from inside the prison described him as being on the brink of a breakdown. Ghislaine Maxwell, who was also housed at MDC Brooklyn, spoke out through her lawyers about the inhumane conditions she endured, including poor sanitation and constant harassment from prison guards. If Diddy was indeed facing similar conditions, it's not hard to imagine that he might have been desperate to get out and that his connections would have made that possible.
The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want it.
But here's the part that really gets people talking, the idea that Diddy's escape wasn't just about avoiding prison time. Some believe that there's a much larger conspiracy at play, one that involves powerful figures in the entertainment industry, the government, and beyond. Could it be that Diddy knew too much about certain people and that those people, in turn, helped him disappear to keep him quiet? So this theory ties into long-standing rumors about Diddy's alleged ties to federal agencies and his possible role as an informant. If that's true, then his escape could be part of a broader effort to protect secrets that go far beyond one man's personal scandal. To add another layer to this mystery, some speculate that Diddy's troubles are far from over. Even if he managed to escape once, there's no guarantee that he won't face consequences down the road. FBI and other agencies might be staying quiet for now, but that doesn't mean they're not watching. And as Diddy's legal battles continue, the question remains, how long can he keep up this act? So with more people coming forward and the rumors growing more intense by the day, it seems like only a matter of time before the truth finally comes to light. And that brings us to the next part of this story, where things take an even stranger turn. Because while Diddy's escape might be the headline, it's what lies beneath the surface that really has people buzzing. There are whispers that Diddy's involvement in the entertainment world goes much deeper than anyone realized, that he's been pulling strings and making deals behind the scenes for years, using his influence to protect himself and others. But could it be that Diddy was actually working as an informant all along, using his connections to stay one step ahead of the game? This is where we dive into the murky waters of Hollywood's darkest secrets and explore just how far the rabbit hole really goes.
Controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
So, if you thought Diddy's alleged prison escape was wild, wait until you hear the deeper, darker story that's emerging from the shadows. Because, as it turns out, Diddy's got a history of controversy that runs much deeper than flashy cars and hit songs. For years, there have been whispers that Diddy isn't just a music mogul. He's allegedly been playing both sides, acting as a secret informant to protect his interests and stay ahead of his enemies. So now, those claims are resurfacing, suggesting that Diddy might have even more powerful connections than anyone ever imagined. So the kind of theory that could change everything you thought you knew about him. The idea that Diddy might be an informant isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. There's been talk of this going back years. The entertainment industry is full of people who crossed paths with Diddy, and some of them have been dropping hints about his double life for ages. One of the loudest voices? None other than Suge Knight, the former head of Death Row Records. Now, if anyone's going to know a thing or two about Shady Deals, it's Suge. He's a man with his own list of controversies, and he's claimed more than once that Diddy's got ties to government agencies, hinting that these connections have kept him untouchable for years.
If the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
So let's back up a little. Suge Knight's feud with Diddy is the stuff of hip-hop legend. So it goes all the way back to the 90s, when the East Coast-West Coast rivalry was at its peak. Back then, Suge and Diddy were the kingpins of their respective scenes, and the tension between them was explosive. So the rivalry culminated in the tragic and mysterious demises of two of hip-hop's biggest stars, Shakur and Biggie Smalls. And here's where things start to get interesting. There have always been rumors that Diddy knew more about those demises than he let on. Some even say he had a hand in them, though there's never been any solid proof to back that up. So what if Diddy's been using his alleged connections all along to stay ahead of any accusations? And what if those same connections helped him get out of prison?
Someone said that they weren't there to take stuff, they were there to delete everything. Like the real people that were in there, you know.
Oh,
like
that's funny.
With Epstein.
Oh, that's funny.
In fact, Suge Knight has outright accused Diddy of being a snitch for years. He said that Diddy's been feeding information to law enforcement to keep his empire safe, and that these connections go all the way to federal agencies. It's a wild claim, Sure, but it's not without some eerie coincidences. Take, for instance, the fact that Diddy managed to dodge serious jail time despite being embroiled in one scandal after another. And we're not talking about minor incidents here. Diddy's been linked to some of the biggest controversies in music history, and yet, time after time, he walks away relatively unscathed. Could it be because he's been feeding intel to people in high places? It's definitely something that's got people talking.
Legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes, and sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle monitor.
And it's not just Suge Knight who thinks Diddy's been playing both sides. Others in the industry have pointed out that Diddy's always seemed to have a knack for staying just outside the reach of the law. Some have even claimed that Diddy's connections go so far that he's practically untouchable. But there's one man who's taken these rumors and run with them, Joe Rogan. On a recent episode of his podcast, Rogan discussed the possibility that Diddy's legal troubles might be tied to something bigger. So it's hinted that there could be tapes hidden away featuring some very powerful people, and that Diddy's stash of secrets might just be his ticket to freedom.
The evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named.
According to Rogan, when federal agents raided Diddy's properties, they weren't just looking for evidence against him. They were searching for dirt on other major players, too. Rogan speculated that Diddy's been holding on to incriminating material for years, footage, photos, you name it, stuff that could bring down some serious heavyweights. He suggested that this might be why the authorities have been careful with how they handle him. After all, if Diddy has the kind of dirt that could rock Hollywood, they'd have every reason to make a deal with him. And in Rogan's world, that's exactly what's happening. Diddy's using his stash of secrets as leverage, trading information to protect himself and perhaps to secure his escape.
Replete with very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras throughout his home.
And here's where things take a bizarre twist. Candace Owens, never one to shy away from controversy, has thrown her hat into the ring with a theory of her own. According to Owens, the reason Diddy hasn't been put away for good is that he's got ties to intelligence agencies. She even went so far as to say that Diddy's a CIA asset, protected because he's more useful to them on the outside than behind bars. Owens pointed to Diddy's long history of skirting serious consequences as proof that he's got friends in high places. She claims that Diddy's been playing a dangerous game, acting as a go-between for law enforcement and the entertainment industry's underworld. And if that's true, then it's no wonder he managed to slip out of MDC Brooklyn. He's been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers.
That this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
Candace Owens isn't the only one who thinks Diddy's ties run deep. There are plenty of folks online who've noticed the way he seems to dodge accountability, and they've got their own theories. So one popular idea is that Diddy's been part of secret societies for years, using his connections to manipulate the industry and keep his hands clean. To these theories range from the somewhat believable to the downright strange, but they all share one thing in common. They paint Diddy as a man who's always in control, always one step ahead. And if he really has been involved with secret societies, that would explain a lot about how he's managed to stay relevant and safe for so long.
There are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see.
One of the most bizarre twists in this story is the idea that Diddy's been using clones to keep up appearances. Now, this is where things get really out there, but some people are convinced that Diddy's been using lookalikes or even AI-generated replicas to take the heat off him. According to this theory, Diddy's been hiding in plain sight, using these doubles to keep up his public persona while he handles his business behind the scenes. It might sound like science fiction, but with the way technology is advancing, who's to say it's not possible? So besides, stranger things have happened in Hollywood. And if you think about it, Diddy wouldn't be the first celebrity to be accused of using a clone. So the entertainment industry is full of rumors about stars who've been replaced by lookalikes or who use stand-ins to cover up their scandals. But for Diddy, the theory goes a step further. Some say he's got a whole team of clones, ready to step in whenever he needs them. To the ultimate way to stay one step ahead of the media. And if it's true, it would certainly explain why he always seems to be in 2 places at once. It would also mean that the real Diddy could be anywhere, keeping a low profile while his lookalikes take the heat.
Diddy is now being sued in addition to what we just talked about by Dawn Richards. You guys will remember her. She was a part of Making the Band.
Dirty Money.
Dirty Money, the Danny Kane era. So basically what she is alleging, she's alleging a lot of different...
Of course, Diddy isn't talking about any of this. He's staying quiet, letting the rumors swirl, which only makes people more suspicious. But the silence speaks volumes. After all, if there's nothing to hide, why not come out and set the record straight? The fact that he's keeping mum has only fueled the fire, leading some to believe that there's more to this story than meets the eye. Diddy's been known to play his cards close to his chest, and right now he's not showing anyone his hand.
Dawn had the choice to file the case as a Jane Doe, and she chose not to do that after giving it a fair amount of thought. She wants accountability.
And as the days go by, the theories are only getting wilder. Some people think that Diddy's entire career has been a front, that he's been using his influence to build a network of spies and informants, all while presenting himself as a fun-loving mogul. They believe he's been using his parties and events as a way to gather information, keeping tabs on everyone from fellow celebrities to politicians. So it's the kind of story that sounds like a thriller, but with Diddy, anything seems possible. And the more people dig, the more they find to support these wild ideas. So at the end of the day, Diddy's story is one that's captured the public's imagination. He's a man who's built an empire from nothing, only to find himself tangled in a web of rumors, conspiracies, and controversy. So whether he's an informant, a clone, or just a man with powerful friends, one thing's for sure, Diddy's got everyone talking. And as long as he stays in the spotlight, the theories will keep coming, each one more bizarre than the last. So where does that leave us? Is Diddy a puppet master pulling strings from behind the scenes? Or is he a victim of his own success, caught up in a whirlwind of scandals and accusations? Let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and until next time.